Thomas Paine, Sam Adams, Benjamin Franklin. These men spoke up for what they thought was right. From their courage came such documents as the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution of the United States. From their willingness to speak what was sometimes unpopular but right, we enjoy such liberties as freedom of speech, the right to keep and bear arms, and freedom of religion. There are those who still wish to oppress our freedoms, and there are still patriots willing to stand up and defend life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Men like Zeb Bell, who honor our founding fathers and what they stood for. It's now time for Zeb at the Ranch, speaking up and defending your freedoms. Brought to you by Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers and all of the other great advertisers on the program. And now, Zeb Bell.
To get rid of an old refrigerator, my neighbor put the refrigerator in his front yard and put a sign on it that said, "Free to good home. You want it, you take it." For 3 days, the refrigerator sat there without anybody even looking twice. He eventually decided that people were too mistrustful of this deal. So we changed the sign to read, "Refrigerator for sale, $50. The next day, somebody stole it. Good morning, here comes Kate Smith, and God bless America. Followed by a patriot with our Pledge of Allegiance. Come on, call in. Let's start the work off right. Here we go, the week off right. Oh, thank you very much, Kate Smith, and God bless America. Good morning. Starting the work week off right. There you go. And right now I'd like to mention this is Zeb Bell. Zeb at the Ranch with our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. All 7 locations serving you, along with some of our great advertisers like Western Way Services, always at your disposal. Call 734-6969. And now, without further ado, let's get the week started off correctly with a Pledge of Allegiance person. Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
You are the man.
Yes, sir. I'd love to do it.
All right, go ahead.
All right. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Wheels. Appreciate it. And I got a little message I want to leave with everybody in just a few moments. Stand by. But right now it's time for the weather. Brought to you by Cheney Flooring and Home Design, 1228 Oakley Avenue in Burley. Look for the blue door, 678-6945. And they've got all your carpet and flooring, all your kitchen construction needs, home decor items, whatever you need to make your house a home. They do a wonderful job, so please check it out today. All the tile and the wood and the carpet for your flooring, varieties and colors to choose from. Cheney Flooring and Home Design. Right now, here's Gina with the weather.
Sunny and windy for today because we have that wind advisory through 8 o'clock tonight. Good Monday. Winds out of the west right around 26 miles an hour for today. But it is going to be sunny, so I guess that's the bright side. High at 55, tonight low of 35. Tomorrow winds dying down, partly cloudy and 58. Overnight low of 37. Mostly sunny and 68 for Wednesday. And then could possibly see a high of 80 for Thursday. Yesterday's high was 70. The overnight low was 50. That's your weather for Zeb at the Ranch.
Oh, Gina, thank you. Excellent job. Thank you very much. Brought to everybody by Cheney Flooring and Home Design, 1228 Oakley Avenue in Burley. Look for the blue door. Absolutely. Thank you very much. Got some notes on politics going on right now. Don't forget Tim Darrington running for Cassia County Commissioner, District 3. He wants to provide good roads, safe environment, and a better quality of life for the citizens of Cassia County, and he encourages job opportunities, new industry, and smart growth. Don't forget, vote for Tim Darrington, Cassia County Commissioner, District 3, paid for by the Darrington 4 Commission. Commissioner Committee, Gail Erickson, Treasurer. Also, don't forget to go vote on May 17th, primary day, and on behalf of Senator Kelly Anthon, Representative Fred Wood, and Speaker of the House Scott Bedke, be sure and mark May 17th on your calendar and go vote. This is America, and be sure and bring your picture ID for identification. Be proud of who you are. The polls open at 8 in the morning, and that's on the 17th. Paid for by Senator Kelly Anthon, Representative Fred Wood, and House Speaker Scott Bedke. I want to make a little note to you people out here in the radio audience this morning that I have complained and yelled, screamed, and hollered about the equipment for quite some time. Well, it's being fixed, and I want to say thanks to the staff over there at K-Bar. It's going to be fixed on Thursday, and they have given me the word that they're going to be correcting some of the equipment so that we don't have all the headaches and the hassles on this program that we've had. And I do say this, though, until Thursday. Bear with us if we have some problems as they are changing over some of the equipment, and Gina's going to talk to us a little bit about that later on, either today or tomorrow when she gets a chance to jump into the studio. But bear with us. We are going to have better equipment and a better sound, I hope, starting maybe not this week, but next week, so stay tuned for that. Don't forget Daryl's Cleaners at 1223 Albion Avenue in Burley. You know, I am blessed to have them as a sponsor, and we're blessed to have them in the area for what they do. My goodness sakes, take all your clothes, all your rumply-crumplies in there, and they certainly can make them look brand spanking new. Daryl's Cleaners at 1223 Albion Avenue in Burley, and when you go in there and pay up front, you get a 10% discount. There you go. At Daryl's Cleaners. You stop in and see them today. And another thank you goes out to our friends with SafeLink Internet. My goodness sakes, over 10,000 customers and growing. Sign up today for a 1-year contract and receive free installation and $30 off your bill for the first 3 months of service. You can't beat that. 677-8000 SafeLink Internet. I want a couple of people in the audience to kind of be the bird dogs this week. I want you to call, and if you notice a problem or something like that while we're transitioning some of the equipment, call and let us know so we can stay on top of it. I would really appreciate it. Calls are welcome, and we thank you. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Friday night, I had another honor bestowed upon me, and I really, really appreciated it. The CSI Equine Organization and Jim Knight, their instructor. Wow, they had their Hall of Fame night. And I want to say thank you very much. I was honored at that banquet. It was a wonderful banquet at the Turf Club in Twin Falls. And thank you, Jim Knight. Jim's been a friend of mine for, 40 years. And he has taken that equine club and that equine class at CSI and really elevated it to being one of the best in the Northwest. And thank you very much for the honor. And there at that banquet the other night was Colonel Earl Lilly. Now, I don't know if you know him or not, but he's been a stalwart in the horse business, not only for the state of Idaho, but for the nation over his many, many years' involvement with the American Quarter Horse Association. The man is 95 years young. And I sat there and we talked and we visited, and after the banquet with the induction ceremony, they had a dance with my dear friend Johnny Yu. He danced every dance. Earl Lilly was out there with his bride and they were dancing every dance. Holy moly, in 95? Congratulations. Calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I want to remind you, too, about Denny's restaurant. You know, have you had one of their omelets? You're going to love their omelets. And you know, it's just, I love that prime rib omelet. It's absolutely fantabulous. You're going to love it. You're going to love all the menu choices, whether you go in there for breakfast, lunch, or dinner at America's Diner, Denny's Restaurant. 611 Overland and Burley and 291 Pole Line in Twin Falls. Thomas and Terry, the whole crew, they are really, really special folks that want to make sure that your dining experience with them is first class. Denny's Restaurant, 611 Overland and Burley and 291 Pole Line in Twin Falls. Denny's, the home of Zeb's Lunch Bunch. Don't you forget that. Want to also say hello to Ramsey Heating and Electric at 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley. Number to call, 678-0459. And they have all your heating and electric needs. All you have to do is stop in and check it out today. Warm winters, cool summers, absolutely, with Ramsey Heating and Electric. Open at 7:30 in the morning till 5, Monday through Friday. Ramsey Heating and Electric, serving you. You know, let me just lay this out for you a little bit this morning. And please, folks, call us this week and let us know what's going on and your opinions. That's what this show's all about. Do you get the feeling, like I do, that anything or anybody can now be anything that they want? This is how sick and perverted our society is getting. You're white, but you say that you are black because you want to be black. You're born into a white family, but like that one young lady that absolutely stood the world on end, she says, no, I'm black. Okay, so you're male, but you say you want to be female. You're 45, but you say you want to be 65 so you can collect Social Security money. I'm not making this stuff up. This is happening. But now they say no to those that say, well, you're not 65, you're 45. Well, it says so on your birth certificate and on your driver's license. Well, it doesn't make any difference. I want to be 65. Well, if they're going to make strict adherence to your age on your birth certificate and your driver's license, so you can't get Social Security money, why can't they do the same that says you are a male, or you are a female, or you are Caucasian, or Negroid, or Mongoloid by race? Why are we letting this foolishness absolutely take over our society? Caller, stay on the line. I'll be right with you, I promise. Don't forget Cutting Edge Curving with our friends Sarah and Mike Baxter at 424 16th Street in Rupert. 208-260-2583 or 808-3360. This will add beauty and property value to your property, so check it out today. Call them for an estimate. Different colors, stamping. It's wonderful, beautiful Cutting Edge Curving. 808-3360. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, sir.
I knew you would call.
Well, I was watching a little bit of news this weekend and trying to relax, and a gentleman brought up a good point, and that where you're the transgender, if you identify as a female, you should be, well then I'm going to identify as a female so I can get assistance from the government for a female-owned business, so I can get grants for that.
Doug, don't even kid.
But, that's the door they're opening.
Okay, but wait a minute. Whoa. I know that you are a Christian person that was born in a Christian home with values of right, wrong, and this is the way it is, and that's the way it's going to be. I know that, okay? So why are we letting in our society? Why, really, are we letting people say, well, no, I'm not white. Well, yes, you are. No, I'm black. Well, no, I'm not a male, but I'm a female. Well, no, wait a minute, you're a male. Why are we letting this absolute travesty to our civilization happen?
Because good people do nothing.
I agree.
That's it in a nutshell. And I've said it over and over. I can't remember where I heard it, but it is a great quote. For evil to succeed, good does nothing.
I can't argue that point, and but I'm very concerned, Doug, as we sit here on this May 9th. Later on this morning at 9:30, we have a couple of the attorneys and a spokesperson for the Alliance Defending Freedom coming out and talking about the so-called bathroom bill. I think that's kind of a slang terminology for a bill that absolutely is important to all of us that are Christians and have moral values. But the federal government this morning, Doug, is going to put the thumb down on North Carolina. Either you open up all your bathrooms and all your locker rooms to perverts, or we're going to take away federal funding.
That's wrong. That's so wrong, and everybody knows it. What I can't understand, Zeb, is we are almost $20 trillion in debt, and the big push, the big subject, the thing we're worried about is who's going into whose bathroom.
Yeah, but wait a minute, though. I know you are worried about it as a Christian man and family member, and this is showing the complete demise and destruction of a civilized Christian society.
Yeah, maybe I worded that wrong. Our elected officials are fighting over that. That's what they're spending our money on.
Yeah.
That's basically what I meant. I'm worried about it. But you know, what it is doing, it isn't opening the door for the transgenders. It's opening the door for the perverts, the child molesters.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, it's giving them, here's open season.
Yeah, and you know what?
You got to do is say this, and you can go in there.
I absolutely open season on civilized society. You know, I talked to a couple of parents this weekend about this type of thing happening here in the state of Idaho. One father in particular is absolutely, he's not waiting for it, but he is prepared. And he said, you know, whether it's major lawsuits, whether it's physically asserting yourself to the point where you're not going to let that problem purvey itself locally within the locker rooms and the bathrooms. But boy, there's a lot of mad parents out there.
There is, and there should be, and they need to start speaking up instead of just being mad and talking amongst themselves. They need to be getting a hold of the state officials, our representatives or senators, and let them be known how they feel.
Absolutely. I agree. Doug, always good to hear from you, my friend. Thank you. Call back.
You too, and God have mercy on us.
Thank you. Oh, please. That is absolutely the truth. You know, what is the matter with our society? Honestly, when you were growing up, whether you're my age or younger or older, it doesn't make any difference. There was a right and a wrong. There was a moral value to our society, and now it just seems like everybody's out there with a big eraser, and they're just, well, that doesn't suit us, so we're going to erase it. Well, that doesn't suit us either, we're going to take that off the table. What in the world? Why are we sitting back and, like Doug said a minute ago, and very succinctly, evil is taking over because we are not doing anything to fight evil? Think about that and respond. Calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. And it is evil. Don't forget Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation, 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley. I know what you're thinking. Well, Zeb, did you reschedule your appointment to get back started? Yes, I did. I go in tomorrow. I'll be there, I promise. And they have got some outstanding physical therapists that work there, and they know all the exercises, all the sports medicine. They've got the hydrotherapy pool with the treadmill in the bottom. Oh, I'm talking about helping you get back to feeling and being like you. Call them today, make an appointment, 678-1191, 678-1191. Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation. Don't you wait now. You give them a call today. Really good folks. By the way, Minidoka County Sheriff Eric Snar is running for re-election, a working sheriff out in the field doing any job necessary, and his pledge to you to make your community safer. He appreciates your vote on May 17th, and his promise is to do the very best for you every single day. So please remember, vote for Eric Snar, Minidoka County Sheriff, paid for by the Re-elect Eric Snar Committee, Jason Gibbons, Secretary. Also want to remind you, too, about Clive Strong running for the Idaho Supreme Court as a justice. And he, of course, knows the issues that are important to Idaho and its future, like water and timber and mining and grazing. And he has the experience necessary to make decisions for us. And he has argued cases before the U.S. Supreme Court and the Idaho Supreme Court. Don't forget, on May 17th, Clive Strong for Idaho Supreme Court Justice, paid for by former state representative Bert Stevenson. Thank you very much. All right, calls are welcome. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Would somebody tell me why Obama is commuting the sentences of more... There, that telephone number went off. I can't take that right now while I'm on the air. Obama is commuting 58 more hard-time criminals. Hard-time criminals. And that brings the total to 308 that he has said, guess what? Here's a card. Get out of jail free. Sayonara. Go back to society. Why? You know, I absolutely do not understand what this president is doing other than disrupting and destroying our civilized society and our value system. Why would he all of a sudden just start commuting more and more and more? 308 may not sound like a lot of bad guys back in society to you, but what about the societies and the towns and the communities that they go back to? You know, everything is turned upside down. Right is wrong, and wrong is now right. And there is no discerning as to which is which. Your thoughts on this, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Wheels, how are we coming in over there? I just wanted to give you a little check before we go much further.
It's still fuzzy as far as the line goes, but we might have to swap it out again about the 9 o'clock hour.
We will do that. Okay, my friend. Thank you. Let me know if it gets any worse, all right?
Yes, sir.
Thank you very much. All right, calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Berry Equipment and Rental, they have all the equipment to get the job done right, with locations in Jerome, in Twin Falls, and 159 West Highway 30 in Burley. All the big Doosan loaders, the Bobcats, the Coyote tractors, Walker mowers. Boy, you can really mow a bunch of ground with those Walker mowers. And think about all the equipment right there. And the Bobcats, come check it out. They got special prices and great financing on their rental units right now on Bobcat equipment. At Berry Equipment and Rental, South Lincoln and Jerome, Addison Evan West in Twin Falls, and 159 West Highway 30 in Burley. Don't forget, for all your equipment needs, it's Berry Equipment and Rental. Here we talk about hearing, and we are having equipment problems that will be fixed this week, and I wanted to urge everybody to have patience, please. Don't forget Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids and the lovely Dr. Christine Pickup. You know, most recent studies last fall showed that not only is there a link between hearing loss and cognitive decline, but wearing hearing aids actually prevented the decline in those with hearing loss. Why don't you please give her a call today and make an appointment to have your hearing checked with a hearing screening at 312-0957. 312-0957. Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids. Call today and have your hearing checked. Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids. Well, it is Monday, and we're going to give away some delicious cinnamon rolls from Sophie's Chatterbox at 530 East Street over in Rupert, right on the square. And they've got a fantastic restaurant, a fantastic bakery. And right now, here's the question for you. First-time winners. First-time winners only. Here's the question. It's not that hard. It may sound difficult, but it's not. I know you know about the answer on this one. John Hartford wrote the song Gentle on My Mind. And then he recorded it. But it didn't go anywhere. Who was the artist that made a huge hit of the song called Gentle on My Mind? First person to call with the right answer is going to get a half dozen cinnamon rolls from Sophie's Chatterbox, and all you have to do is just call them at 436-0354. Tell them when you're going to be over there to pick them up, and let's get some calls. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Who was the recording artist that made a huge hit of the song Gentle on My Mind? Give me a call, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Come on, give me a call, quick, come on, get on the air, give me a jingle, and I'd love to hear from you while I'm waiting for your call, which is coming in right now. Good morning, caller, you're on the air.
John Denver?
Nope. Thanks, Earl. Appreciate your try. It was not John Denver. Nope, not John Denver. Not Rocky Mountain High. We'll take another call. Give me a jingle, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Name the recording artist that made Gentle on My Mind a huge hit. Okay? Give me a call, quickly. While I'm waiting for your call, don't forget, re-elect Jay Heward for Cassia County Sheriff. Born and raised in Burley, went to Burley High School and Idaho State University, and has been in police work for over 36 years. Cassia County Emergency Manager, and Jay knows what to do. He knows his job and his constitutional responsibilities. Don't forget, Jay Heward, running for re-election for Sheriff of Cassia County, paid for by the committee to re-elect Jay Heward, Cassia County Sheriff, Steve Westfall, Treasurer. Caller, good morning, you're on the air.
Yes, is it Glenn Campbell?
Yes, it is. Who is calling?
Blaine Cook?
Blaine Cook, well, you are the winner. Congratulations. I've got your name down, and all you have to do is call Sophie's over in Rupert at 436-0354 and let them know when you're going to be over there, okay?
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Blaine. Appreciate your calling. There you go. There you go. It was Glenn Campbell. And believe me, Glenn Campbell, of course, really making a big hit out of that and a whole bunch of money, too. Congratulations. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Shirley Helford Hubbard running for Cassia County Commissioner District 3. She wants your vote. Don't forget, she said we need to address the younger generation and get them more active in leadership of our county, as they will become the leaders of tomorrow. And she says we need to have some open new ideas and a great knowledge base to be ever diligent in making sure decisions and compromises for Cassia County. If you want fair and equal representation for all of Cassia County, vote for Shirley Helford Hubbard for District 3 County Commissioner, Lois Reinhardt, Treasurer. Thank you very much. All right, it's your turn. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. In case you're worried about little things, here's something else to worry about. Iran, and well, we'll talk about Iran in just a few moments, and they're absolutely snubbing their nose at our supposed treaty and agreement. Good morning, caller. You're on the air. Go ahead.
Hey, good morning, Jeb.
Yes, sir.
I was calling about, I didn't know if you talked about it, but they're having a stand-in at the courthouse in Council, Idaho, about Jackie Annis. Have you heard anything on that?
I have not.
Take on them not coming through, deciding what to do with the police.
I have not heard anything about it. What's the general information as to why they're doing this again?
Well, they're wanting them. They told them they'd have an answer in 6 months, and all they've done is turn it over to the Attorney General. The state police turned the information over, and there's been nothing released.
Okay.
And I was wondering if there was anything around here a guy could go to.
You know, I am really...
Sure didn't like that when it happened, and they're stalling out, trying to hope it'll go away.
You know, that was
It's going to go away.
That was a tragic case of why in the world did that man have to be shot. I've questioned this. I've asked about it. I've run into a brick wall myself. I haven't found anything more. But I appreciate your calling me because I'm going to make some contacts after the program this morning with some of the people in the news media that I know up there, and I'll see if I can't get a report for you tomorrow morning on the program. How's that?
Man, I'd appreciate that, Jim.
All right, sir. God bless you. Thank you for your call. I thank you much. You know, there was a case where there was a automobile involved in the hitting. I'm giving you a general synopsis here, really general. A case where a bull was on the highway, open range, and there was a case where there was an auto accident, and then one thing led to another with the authorities getting there at the scene of the accident, and then the owner of the livestock getting there, Mr. Yanis, and then all of a sudden there was the shooting of Mr. Yanis. Why? Why did things have to escalate to that point where officers felt compelled to shoot this man? An innocent man. And we're going to have more about this. And it has not been talked about enough in the media. Here included. And I'll take the blame for that. We've had a lot of stories we've tried to cover, but I'm going to try to do a better job on this one in particular in laying out why that man had to die. Thank you, caller. I appreciate that. Once again, we do know that we have equipment problems, and we do know that we're hopefully going to get it rectified this week. So bear with me for the bulk of this week if you can, please. Call me, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. All right, hey, Lennox Home Comfort System, Ramsey Heating and Electric offering rebates on qualified Lennox Home Comfort Systems, air conditioners, gas furnaces, and heat pumps. Your family will enjoy the comfort. Call 678-0459 and learn how Ramsey Heating and Electric can save you money on Lennox. Call today. Thank you, caller. Good morning. You're on the air.
Well, whether or not it's Leroy Seneca or Jack Yanis, we really can never forget. Now, Seneca, in my mind, was he was out there fighting the battle, riding point, and he got shot. And forgetting about him is not something we can do. And it just seems as time goes by, you know how it is. Everybody's very busy, and these things fade from our memory, and it's just the way life is, and you can't blame anybody for it. But you see, being reminded is important, but you see, if you think about your audience, Deb, and how involved and informed they are, you say to yourself, well, what is the rest of the state like?
Yeah.
What's Oregon like? Well, the people, you see, are we gaining? Are we losing? We've got to win.
Randy, I am extremely close to the son-in-law and daughter of Lavoy Finicum, and they're very, very dear people. Deanne, could you take this note, please? And they're very, very dear, sweet people, and I am going to be in touch with them later this week about the possibility and feasibility of having Tawny, the daughter, and possibly even the son-in-law come on the program and discuss what is being done, what's not being done, what's been covered up, what has been opened up. And I promise you I'll do more investigative reporting on this, along with the Yaddis case up in council.
Well, you see, you're right, and that's the best you can do, and that advertisement that's being done by Tawny Crane is very... Now, she doesn't endorse any...
That's right.
For Sharon.
That's right.
And I'm not saying one thing one way or another, but it's something that we all need to think about.
Well, Randy, when she called me and talked to me about that ad, I thought it was extremely well done. She has an extremely good voice for that ad, and the point gets across that people need to do their own homework and study each and every candidate that's running for a specific office.
Well, of course, and see, that's the thing. These people that run for office have phone numbers, and you can call them, and believe me, they will answer because they want to get reelected or elected, and it's real simple. And you say, well, how do you have time to do that? Well, I don't know. It doesn't take that long. You just, get on the horn and do it.
Yeah.
You can't be shy. It's your country.
And that's the whole thing right there, Randy, that we all need to get much more involved. I overheard some comments this past couple of days, and I was... Have you ever wanted to invade a private conversation and let these people know what kind of idiots and dolts they are? I overheard a conversation with a couple of folks that were saying, well, I'm not going to vote because my candidate's not in the running anymore. And the other person said, well, I haven't voted for the last 2 elections, and I'm not planning on voting on this one. That is the complete ineptness, and these people ought to be run out of the country for not having the pride and patriotism in going to the polls and participating.
So many people are so misinformed or uninformed or willfully ignorant about what is going on, and then when they actually do show up to the polls, they really don't even know they don't know the issues or the candidates, and they're in there just, I'm telling you, in some cases, we're being sucked down the toilet by people who should know better, but don't.
I agree with you. Randy, you're always welcome. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Deb.
Thank you. Really, when you hear things like that, I bet you have. I'm not going to vote. My candidate didn't make it. Oh, wah, wah, wah. Maybe you're not happy with Trump. Maybe you're definitely not happy with Hillary. You know what? Go vote. There's still a quality on both sides of the fence, whether you're a Democrat respecting that platform or a Republican respecting that platform. Go vote. It's the sit backs and do nothing and then complain later that I absolutely have no time for. And don't give me this deal about, well, I don't like Trump. Well, I don't really particularly like the man either. But you know something? I absolutely despise Hillary a lot more. Calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Don't forget Minicash Sales, 1321 East Main Street in Burley, with our dear friend Zach and the whole crew. All the different lumber packages. Remodeling, going to do some work on the stairs, going to do some work in the bathroom, do a whole bunch of remodeling in the kitchen or whatever. They've got all your lumber packages. Going to fix the roof up. They've got all the metal or asphalt shingles. I mean, really, they've got everything to upgrade your home. Stop by and call them. Stop by and see them at 1321 East Main Street in Burley, right across from the airport, or give them a call at 878-2091. Minicash Sales, and they are the sponsor of Dr. History. Thank you very much. Calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I'd like to hear from you. Oh, wait a minute. Stop. This is really important. For the naysayers out there that ridiculed me back the 1st of April when Major League Baseball season started up, and I received quite a few emails and calls, and people said, "You're Chicago Cubs." Why, they'll probably be at the bottom of the pile again this year. May I point out that the bubble has not yet been broken, And they have, the Chicago Cubs, the best baseball record in major leagues at 24 wins and only 6 losses. They have won 7 straight against the Pittsburgh Pirates and the Washington Nationals, both of which are considered to be World Series choices. So I say to you, wow, my Cubs aren't doing too bad. The weather is brought to us this hour by Urgent Cares in Burley, Jerome, and Twin Falls. Riverview Urgent Care at 3082 North Overland in Burley, and the Twin Falls Urgent Care at 2392 Addison Avenue East in Twin Falls, along with Urgent Care in Jerome at 133 West Avenue A. Minor emergencies, major care, no appointments necessary. Just walk in. They will help you, and you'll save money, too, at Urgent Cares in Jerome, Burley, and Twin Falls. And right now, here's Gina with the weather.
Sunny and windy for today because we have that wind advisory through 8 o'clock tonight. Good Monday. Winds out of the west right around 26 miles an hour for today. But it is going to be sunny, so I guess that's the bright side. High at 55, tonight low of 35. Tomorrow winds dying down, partly cloudy and 58. Overnight low of 37. Mostly sunny and 68 for Wednesday, and then could possibly see a high of 80 for Thursday. Yesterday's high was 70. The overnight low was 50. That's your weather for Zebeth.
I appreciate it, Gina. Brought to everybody by Urgent Care. Oh, boy, this is a great, great opportunity for you. Minor emergencies, major care. Riverview Urgent Care in Burley, and, of course, Urgent Care of Jerome, and Twin Falls Urgent Care on Addison Avenue East in Twin. I'm telling you, folks, they can help you, and they take all the different insurances. Please remember, Urgent Cares in those 3 areas: Twin Falls, Jerome, and Burley. Thank you very much. Calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. You know, Paul Ryan, why is he stalling on helping to put the Republican Party back together? Why? Why is he stalling? You know, they're at their boot heels of their Tony Lamas are on the edge of the Grand Canyon as a party. The Republican Party is so fragmented and so much infighting and everything else. They better start putting this thing together with a whole bunch of duct tape. And then I heard, and I want to get your opinion on this, I heard over the weekend that maybe, and it's kind of a rumor right now, but Mitt Romney might be plotting and planning to have a third-party influence at the convention in Cleveland. What kind of nuts, absolutely crazy idea would that be? That would be absolutely calling up the Hillary Clinton campaign and saying, here, the door's open, just go on in and take up residence. What in the world is going on with the Republican Party? I don't care if it's Rance Priebus. I don't care if it's Paul Ryan. I don't care if it's Mitt Romney. I don't care if it's Donald Trump. You better mend fences as soon as you can. Don't forget, Cliff Katona is running for Twin Falls County Sheriff as a Republican candidate, and he wants your vote on May 17th. He promises to be proactive with community needs with more visibility and addressing people's concerns. 28 years of distinguished law enforcement for the state of Idaho, and he was 19 years an Idaho State policeman. Don't forget, on May 17th, vote for Cliff Katona for Twin Falls County Sheriff, paid for by the Katona for Twin Falls County Sheriff Committee, Jim Woolley, chairman. He'll be with us, as a matter of fact, a little bit later on this morning. Cliff Katona coming into the studio. Looking forward to that. All right, give me a call, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Is it just me, or do you and have you noticed the Times News is doing all they can on a weekly basis to try to get us to accept the refugee center and all the refugees coming into this area? They absolutely come out with these, oh my goodness, lovey-dovey stories about the refugees and how we should all just be open our hearts and our minds and our billfolds and accept all these people coming in here. I can't, and I won't. And I still have grave concerns over what is going on nationally with our open borders and the Obama administration welcoming in tens of thousands of refugees from Syria and the Middle East. And the Times News, with their belittlement of you and I, if we are of great concern as to what's going on in this area. What are your thoughts about this? I mean, every Sunday they had another one called The Big Story, Finding Family, and then the subheadline said, Mentors fill family roles as resettlement opponents vow to keep on fighting. Well, I am one of those opponents, and I do not believe in all this resettlement. I do not believe in all these refugees coming in over and above of the care and treatment of families that have lived here, resided here, and need help here. Your thoughts. Come on, give me a call. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. While I'm waiting for your call that I hope is coming in, come on, callers, don't let me down. I got the best doggone audience in the world. Just give me a jingle. I'd appreciate it. Our Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations, are serving you and me and everybody. They have all the tires for summertime travel. Maybe you're planning a trip back to, let's say Indiana, or maybe as far back east as Florida or the East Coast to look at all the different things of history on the East Coast. They've got all the tires for your summertime travel, for your cars and your pickups and your SUVs, and of course all your horse trailers and your camp trailers, and of course your any kind of need. It's there at your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. And along with that, they've got the best in brake service, the best in front end alignment shocks and struts, and all the batteries for every need. Yes, sirree, Bob. Stop over and see them today. Lane and Rupert, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, Mike and Buell, Mike and Jerome, the Twist family in Paul, Daniel on Pole Line in Twin Falls, and Randy on Overland in Burley. The best, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Stop in and see them today. All right, your turn, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. You know, I watched over the weekend on Saturday the Kentucky Derby. It's kind of a ritual with me. The first Saturday in May, I know the Derby's going to be on, and for some reason, more so than the Belmont Stakes or the Preakness, I just absolutely relish watching the Kentucky Derby. And the just huge crowds that are in attendance at that race. And they had 20 horses in the field this year. And Nyquist was the winner, but if it would have gone just a little bit longer in length, I honestly think Nyquist would have been beaten, but he ended up winning by about 3/4 of a length. But it's too bad that horse racing here in the state of Idaho has gone by the wayside. One of the greatest racing tracks and facilities in the entire Northwest is dark and not being used and locked up, and that's Le Bois Park. It's a crying shame that our racing horse industry is not here in Idaho, and something can't be done to stimulate its growth to come back. When you stop and think about when those people go to Le Bois Park, the money that is spent there, not just on the race days, but the people that have horses there, the trainers, the jockeys, everybody involved with it, the money that we are losing for our state coffers is absolutely enormous. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning. Yeah, that's a real sad situation. What's going to go in there? There must be something going in there, huh?
I don't know what's going to go in there. I don't know what's going to happen. Excuse me, caller, I don't know. All I can tell you is that I talked to some powers that be in the racing business, and they are extremely sad as to what's going on with a lack of ability, a lack of try to save the racing business. Do you realize that whether it's the feed or whether it's the insurance, whether it's the trailers or the pickup sales or whatever, the money that we're being lost in revenue to the state of Idaho is absolutely gigantic?
Yeah, there's a lot of businesses right down there by the track there that'll be affected by that quite a bit.
Absolutely. What are your thoughts on horse racing?
Pardon me?
I say, what are your thoughts about horse racing? Are you saddened like I am that it's dying here in the Northwest?
It's absolutely ridiculous if they close down something that's been a pastime for us for years and years, and it's never hurt anyone. And like you said, it's actually helped our communities and strengthening the relationships people have in that industry is phenomenal. It's really sad.
Absolutely. Caller, God bless you for your call, and I appreciate and agree with you 1,000%. Thank you very much. You know, people don't realize how valuable, and I'm going to stand up and say this, that the horse industry is to any state, whether it's the clothing or, like I said, the equipment, whether it's the actual horses, whether it's the feed, whether it's transportation. It doesn't make any difference. Everything is really a big multi-million-dollar contribution to the state, and our state of Idaho is losing that revenue, and it's a crying shame. We're going to take a little break for a couple of minutes, and Wheels, I'm going to disengage the line and call back in just a few minutes and reestablish a new one, see if that helps for hour number 2. And right now, here are these good words followed by music to lead us up to CBS News. Good morning to you. Oh my, here we go. Hour number 2 on a Monday, May 9th already. My goodness sakes, Zeb at the Ranch. I'm Zeb Bell with our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations serving you, along with some of our great advertisers like Western Waste Services.
From the canyons of the Snake River and all across southern Idaho, we're always at your disposal. Western Waste Services, we care about our community, our resources, every free man. Western Waste Services is lending a hand, always at your disposal. Western Waste Services.
You know, I want to mention this again. I did last week that a lot of businesses, a lot of companies, a lot of schools, everybody's making plans for graduations and maybe family reunions, company picnics and everything. Don't forget to be sure and call Western Waste Services for all the porta potties for those special events. Yes, they can help you. They will help you. Absolutely the best. Western Waste Services, 734-6969. Locally owned and operated, always at your disposal. Western Waste Services. Really great people. By the way, Wheels, let's have this word for Roy Prescott.
With over 40 years of dedicated community service, Roy Prescott brings experience to real issues facing Jerome County today. Roy Prescott, the Jerome County Commissioner. Responsible leadership for a better Jerome County.
Prescott for Commissioner, paid for by the committee, Catherine Hanks, Treasurer. Thank you very much. Right now, also, I want to remind you that John Linker is running for Jerome County Sheriff, 18 total years of experience in law enforcement, and he's worked 14 of those years for the Jerome Police Department, spending almost 7 of those as a school resource officer. He wants to increase morale, promote community service on duty and off. Vote May 17th for John Lenker, Jerome County Sheriff, paid for by Lenker for Sheriff Committee Chairman Bill Watts. Okay, let's go right now to visit with some friends of ours over at the Golden Heritage Senior Center. Good morning, Catherine. How are you?
Good, thank you, Zeb.
What's happening over there today and this week?
Well, we've got our birthday dinner is on Wednesday. That's the traditional turkey dinner with the fixings. and we'd like to invite the whole community to come out and support that. We raise the monies for the Meals on Wheels program. We also have our bingo night tomorrow night at 6:45, and we do serve dinner for $3.
Now, Catherine...
So we'd love to get people to come out for that.
All right, Catherine, I want to tell you that bingo is... these people take it really serious, don't they?
They do. It's a serious game.
Now, a lot of these people, they play like how many different bingo cards at a time?
Some of them play up to 12 bingo cards at a time.
How do they possibly pay 12 bingo cards at one time without, man, you must have to have huge tables available.
We do have huge tables available, but they tape them all together, and they're just right there so they can dab on their bingo dauber, and it's a lot of fun, and we have a blast doing it, so...
All right, now, along with bingo and great food, you've got some excellent cooks over there. What are some of the menu choices for this week, real quick?
Today we're having chicken parmesan with scalloped potatoes and apricot crisps for lunch, the dessert. We are also having stromboli on Tuesday, pork noodles on Thursday, and lemon fish on Friday.
Ooh, okay. And what about the general public? If they're hungry and they want to stop in and just see what's going on, what about them?
It's the best deal for a meal in town. You come in, it's $6. You get a healthy portion. It's delicious, hot food, and the socialization here is amazing. We'd invite everyone to come out and spend some time with us.
All right, now real quick before I let you go, have you got any breakfast or anything else coming up in the near future?
We do. On May 21st is our community breakfast, and that's from 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. The cost for that is $7, again, supporting Meals on Wheels. And they can come out and have pancakes and bacon, eggs, hash browns, biscuits and gravy. It's great food.
Okay, and what about any other activities that are coming up that you want everybody to try to come over and be a part of?
Well, we've got a Dutch oven breakfast in June, but our big tournament, fishing tournament, is in July. We're having a fishing derby with an old-fashioned fish fry, and that will be on the 9th of July. So we've got some great things happening, and we want people to call and get some information and come out and participate. All
right, tell everybody where you're located and what number they can call.
We're located at 2421 Overland, just across the street from Hair Force on Overland, and our number is 208-878-8646.
Catherine, always a pleasure to talk to you, the director of the Senior Center. God bless you and have a great week, and we'll talk to you next Monday.
Great. Thank you, Zeb.
All right, take care. Thank you very much. Very, very nice lady right there. Hey, don't forget, every day on the program, we start off with the weather brought to you by Genie Flooring and Home Design. We had Whitney on the program last week. She just knows all about home decor and changing things, individualizing your home. Wow, sharp people over there at 1228 Oakley Avenue in Burley. Look for the blue door. All your carpet and flooring, kitchen construction, home decor items, whatever you need to make your house a home at Genie Flooring and Home Design. Really, really nice people. And, you know, every day on the program when I talk about nice people, I always have to allude to our dear friend Joel Heward, his family, and his staff at Hanson Mortuary, 710 6th Street in Rupert. They are literally there when you need them with very flexible hours to serve you and your family when there's the passing of a loved one. And they can travel to the rural towns and churches around the area, too, to help you with all of the arrangements. Please, they always uphold the highest ethical standards with unquestioned integrity. With every life is worth remembering. Hanson Mortuary, 710 6th Street in Rupert. Number to call, 436-5636. Hanson Mortuary. You know, in just a moment, we're going to jump on over and visit with the lovely Miss Vicky, so stay tuned for that. And right now, I want to remind you, Charlie Howell running for Jerome County Commissioner, District 2. Charlie has served 4 terms as County Commissioner, and he spearheaded the new criminal justice facility that started about 10 years ago, and he wants to keep on serving the residents of Jerome County. He believes and demonstrates in team play, but leads the way with independent thinking. Vote for Charles Howell, Jerome County Commissioner, District 2, paid for by the Charlie Howell for District Commissioner, District 2 Commissioner Brenda Haddam, Treasurer. Thank you very much. And also, we've got another gentleman that's running for office that wants to have his voice heard, and that's Jeff McEwen, running for Minidoka County Sheriff. He will serve and protect the residents of Minidoka County by creating an agency that demands excellence and will do the very best job he can because citizens expect that from their public servants. He believes that Minidoka County should look at what's working and what is not and change accordingly. Jeff McEwen running for Minidoka County Sheriff, paid for by Jeff McEwen for Minidoka County Sheriff, Anna McEwen, Treasurer. Well, my goodness sakes, here she is, the lovely Miss Vicky. How are you at Vicky's Country Gardens?
Good morning, Zeb. How are we doing on this lovely windy day?
Oh, we are fantabulous, my dear, lovely Miss Vicky. I'll bet you that with this sunshiny forecast for this week and maybe cut back a little bit on the rain, what's cooking over there at Vicky's Country Gardens?
Well, we're getting battened down for the wind this afternoon. Sounds like they've got a wind advisory hitting us about noon. We're supposed to have some high winds and all that good stuff. So if anybody's got anything planted that's standing above ground, they might want to anchor it down a little tighter.
Well, now, wait a minute. Vicky, I'm not planted, and I am standing above ground, and I don't chase my hat real well.
Well, you might want to put your stampede strings down.
Okay, now we had, since last week, a whole bunch of letters come in. Most of them were kind of lengthy, to be honest with you, so I kind of paraphrased everything down to a simple sentence so we can get many of them on the air this morning. One lady wrote, and she said, "Why do I need to use compost in the garden, and can it replace good old fertilizer?"
Well, if she's talking about good old manure fertilizer, it doesn't really replace it, but what the compost does is it puts all of our natural nutrient back in, all of our microorganisms, all of the things that a lot of your chemical fertilizers and chemical weed killers and fungicides and everything kill off in our soil. So it is a soil additive. It puts the humates and stuff back into our soil and just makes our soil richer and better, and plants just love it. They need those microorganisms and those micronutrients. Now, and it doesn't necessarily replace the manure if that's the kind she's talking about, and it sure doesn't replace a chemical fertilizer because there's no major fertilization in compost. A little bit of phosphate, but that's all. So you still need to use your fertilizers with it. But it is a soil conditioner. It just makes the soil so much nicer. Whether it's sandy, clay, or whatever, it just makes it a lot better. Okay, now, I remember vividly 3 years ago on this program, I used too much of the barnyard material, and it burned the garden. Yes, it will. You have to be very careful putting in the manures because they are high in nitrogen, they're hot, and they can burn. The horse manure and sheep manure are a little less heat, but the cow manure and chicken manure is very, very, very hot. You use way less of that than you do any of the others. The better thing to do when you're putting manure on is put it on in the fall, till it in, let it break down over the winter, then you don't run that risk. The nutrient is still there, but it's broke down. It's not as hot as going in and then planting right into it. Okay.
Now, letter number 2 for this morning, and boy, I'm lost on this one because I don't have the answer for it. What is soil pH, and how can a person test the soil to see what levels it should be?
Okay, the soil pH is determines your alkalinity or your acidity in the soil. That's kind of where it's at. And a high pH is an alkaline soil, which we have here. We have a lot of high pH soils here. Our water has a high pH in it. And plants don't do well when they get up above that 7.5 to 8 pH. Neutral is about 6.5, and that's a neutral zone for plants. And a lot of plants, berries and things like it, even lower than that. That's why things do so well in Oregon, is because they have a pH of about a 5 up there. But the pH in the soils is very crucial in our area. That's why I'm always preaching about use your soil sulfur. Use your soil sulfur. Brings that pH down in the soil, and but you have to use it yearly, and you have to use it at least three times a year, at least, if not a little bit more. And you can buy soil testers, pH testers. The ag place over in Burley there, it's not Agri-Service, but it's the one behind Norco and behind Cal Stores, and I can't ever remember. It's an ag spray or something. Anyhow, they have testers that you can buy, that you can test. You can buy some of the pH meters and stuff like that in some of the different stores. They're not real accurate, but they'll get you close.
Okay, now wait a minute. Is this the same Vicki that I've known and loved for years, and you came out with words like alkalinity on my program?
Yes, I did.
Okay, another letter. And this is, I think, we've passed over this, I think, in programs past. And this lady said, I moved here from Missouri, and I'd never had a flower garden before. How do I prepare flower beds, new flower beds for planting?
Okay, the first thing you want to do is water them, let the weeds come up, spray the weeds and kill them with, you hit them with Roundup, whatever, before you put anything in. Then get the weeds dead, then till in your compost and till it into your top 6 inches or so of soil. Get a nice soil base going, and then go ahead and plant your flowers and things of that nature. Then you can come in with your pre-emergent weed control, put that down, put a little fertilizer down, and you're good to go.
Okay, that sounds like that takes care of that one. I got about 3 left here this morning. We talked about this a little bit, I think it was 2 programs ago, but this person writes in about trees and shrubs and asks generally what trees and shrubs need spring pruning.
Well, a lot of your shrubs, you need to prune on shrubs at least twice a year to keep them from getting really old and tall and stemmy. You want to, if you'll prune on them a little more often, you keep a finer shrub. It doesn't get tall and get the heavy woody stems in it. So really and truly, in order to keep a shrub the size you want, you need to trim on it at least twice a year. Spring and fall is a good time to do it. Fruit trees need to be pruned at least every other year, if not a light pruning every year, but at least every other year you need to get in on fruit trees and trim those. Shade trees and that, you basically, if they're getting out of control, you need to get someone to come in sometimes and thin them a little bit. Not necessarily butch them down to nothing, but just come in and do a nice job. And there are some guys we've got some real good guys in the area that know how to do this. Come in and thin a tree out and make it healthy and make it. You always want to take your dead wood out. Any branches, anything that's got a dead look to it, take it out.
Okay. Now, this next letter is a real short note, and it's really true in this area because we don't know what's going to be lying ahead of us this summer for rain or a drought. What can a person with a garden, flower beds, etc., do to prepare now for a possible summer dry spell?
Well, there's really not anything you can do to prepare. A drip system is a real good system to put in flower beds, in around shrubs and things like that, because you don't waste water with a drip system, and when you turn it on, it waters the exact plant. Spray systems have a tendency with our lovely wind to water the dandelions on the edge of the garden instead of the plants that are in the garden. And it'll water plants that you don't want watered. Drip systems or a gravity flow type system to me, is the best way to do gardens and that type of thing. Flower beds, you don't want to put a spray system in because a lot of flowers, roses, and that don't do well. They do better with ground surface watering.
Wow.
The main thing you just want to do is have a good base going, have your fertilizers in place. Do not water during the heat of the day if you can help it. Do a deep soak of an evening or early in the morning and prepare those plants for the heat. Watering during the hot times of the day can definitely cause problems.
Okay. Wow. Ladies and gentlemen, do you hear what I hear? This woman is an encyclopedia of gardening. We have time for one more question. What are some non-toxic methods of pest and disease prevention and control?
So we're talking organics there, I would imagine, is what they're asking.
I think so.
There's a lot of there's products out that you can get the biological dusts and things of that nature to take care of bugs and stuff and in the garden, and that diatomaceous earth is one that's totally organic, that can be used on the ground. You can put it on your plants. It'll never hurt anything except a bug that's crawling through it. It won't hurt dogs, kids, nothing other than bugs that crawl through it. There's a product called spinosad that is real close to being an organic, that is a very good insecticide that you can use. Worm tea is one that can be used for fertilization and fungicide control, and that's all totally organic and easy to use.
Okay, but wouldn't you agree with me, Vicki, that little by little, inch by inch, the government and all the powers of the EPA and everything, they're really taking away some of the things we need to help keep the pests at bay?
Yeah, they are, and the organic thing is a real good thing. I'm not saying that it's not for small gardens and people that are growing their own gardens. It's a real safe, it's a real good way to do things. But on a large scale, the organic fungicides and the organic fertilizers and the organic insecticides are not tough enough to really give us the kill that we need. On a large scale. In small gardens and that, yes, you can hoe your gardens and keep your weeds down and that type of thing, but on a large scale in big fields and stuff, it's pretty hard, and these farmers need to be able to use the chemicals. In order to feed the world, we've got to be able to have chemicals that will do the job, and it's not going to hurt people, but at least they don't have to be out there on a daily basis trying to hoe them out by hand, because the hoeing crews and stuff are no longer available to do the fields and stuff. We have to come in with the chemicals now.
Absolutely. All right, we've got about 2 minutes left, and it's time for Vicki to rise and shine with her tip of the week.
Well, my tip for the day is if you've got your tomatoes and stuff planted and they're standing very far above ground, get some kind of shelter on them, because this wind that's coming can snap them off at the ground. So if you can put something up that's going to put something over them or something that can protect them from the wind, our wind does as much damage as anything. Also, they say we're going to be warming up after today. Don't get carried away with your water. It's not going to, the nights are still cool. Your water's not evaporating. Just check your ground before you water. Don't get your plants too wet, because we're still going to have some cool weather ahead of us, and you can cause problems by having them too wet.
Oh, my goodness, she's in the process of writing a huge book. She knows everything about gardening. Vicki at Vicki's Country Garden, 185 South, 600 West of Paul. Number to call, the lovely Miss Vicki, 438-5663. Any final thoughts this morning, Vicki?
Just it's getting close to time. You can put pretty much everything in. All the seeds can go in now. Corn and everything should be able to go in now and get prepared. So come in and see us, and we'll help you get that garden going, and flowers and whatever else you need done.
If you see an old fat man with crutches flying overhead, snag me, because the wind got me.
That's right. I'll reach up and get at least one of your crutches anyway.
Okay, Vicki. God bless. Thank you.
right, thanks, Deb. See ya.
A wonderful lady right there, Miss Vicky at Vicky's Country Garden, 185 South, 600 West of Paul. You stop over and see them today. Oh, my goodness, we got to take care of some more candidates for different positions. Dee Yeaman, an old friend of ours, candidate for Cache County Commissioner, District 3. Lived in Cache County nearly all of his adult life and believes in protecting the values that make Cache County a great place to live, and believes in working hard to make the improvements when necessary. County government is about all of us working for a common goal, and Dee would like to lead in those efforts. Vote May 17th for Dee Yeaman, candidate for Cache County Commissioner, District 3, paid for by Yeaman for Commissioner Committee, Sharon Hardy Mills, Treasurer. And, of course, don't forget about our friends over at Let's Ride. Oh, my goodness, where the fun is sold. 270 Highway 24 between Rupert and the World. This weekend, Deanna and I took the four-wheelers out on a fairly nice little ride, about 20, 25 miles, and came back and just can't wait for the next little excursion, because Let's Ride sold us those bikes about 4 or 5 years ago, and right now they've got the Suzuki at 0% financing. You better check out all the great buys on four-wheelers right now, all the great buys on watercraft right now, because this is where the fun is sold. Let's Ride, 270 Highway 24 between Rupert and the World. You stop over and see them today. While you're over in that area, don't forget our friends at Cameron and Siemens Insurance. My goodness. Life insurance coverage, health insurance coverage, retirement planning, employee benefits, all of this and more with our dear friends at Cameron and Siemens Insurance, devoted to serving you. Please give them a call today, and they are the insurance professionals. 436-4424, Cameron and Siemens Insurance, Highway 24 in Rupert. Really good folks. Wheels, how are we coming in so far for this half hour? We want to tell the folks that we're going to be replacing some of the equipment this week that's long overdue. How are we coming through?
You still sound clear, sir. It's a lot better than it was the first hour, that's for sure.
Well, goodness sakes, appreciate that. You have a good day over there at the main studio. You're like an old vulture on the keys over there. Appreciate it. We are going to go to the phone line right now, and we have with us, I think this is her first time to come on my program, and she is with the Alliance Defending Freedom, a legal counsel with them, and we say good morning to Kate Anderson. Kate, are you there?
I am. Thank you for having me on the show.
Well, Kate, it's my pleasure to have you or any of the attorneys with the Alliance Defending Freedom, or Carrie Kupek, the communications officer. Kate, I'm going to start off by saying this morning, and I'd like to hear your thoughts. Right now, common sense and decency and moral values are under siege in America, and I honestly don't see that many people standing up and getting in the fight.
I think that's true. Our case is the first of its kind on these privacy issues. And speaking of our case, Alliance Defending Freedom just filed a lawsuit in Illinois representing 51 families and 136 students, moms and dads, who want to stop the harm and violation of privacy of their daughters in District 211. I don't know if you know much about it, but District 211 has passed a policy that allows a biological boy to use the locker rooms and restrooms with the girls in the school. It's something that came about because the Department of Education is forcing it. It's violating the privacy of all of these girls, and it's something we're trying to stop.
I know a lot about it because I was one of the first people that had the guts to put it on the radio when this thing first came around, this idiocy of allowing persons of another sex to use restrooms and or locker rooms, and I am glad that people and parents are finally starting to show some backbone and fighting back. What do you think is going to happen here? I mean, this is being thrust upon us, and the government is advocating this, and what's going on in the Carolinas this morning is absolutely ridiculous. They're threatening to pull federal funding if they don't alter that bathroom bill. Give us a little background on that.
Yes. Well, we hope we're going to win and stop it here in Palatine, Illinois. But this is part of a larger policy that's going on with the agencies, particularly the Department of Education and the Department of Justice, to force into schools this policy that if a student identifies with the opposite gender, that student should be allowed to use the opposite sex facilities. That includes locker rooms, includes restrooms. In some schools, it has included hotel rooms when the school travels. This is harmful for students' privacy. It ignores student rights, and it's something that these parents are trying to stop. In North Carolina passed a bill that, of all things, said that bathrooms and facilities of that nature should be designated by biological sex. It has been challenged. They received an ultimatum, essentially, that they needed to repeal that HB 2 and start that action by Monday. My understanding is that the governor has filed suit this morning to challenge that in the courts.
Let me ask you this, Kate. Why, in your opinion, and you're closer to these stories than anybody, why, in your opinion, is the government forcing and coercing us into accepting this filth and this sleaze? They are talking about minuscule numbers of transgenders, but yet they're putting them to the forefront over family and moral values. Why?
I'm not entirely sure. There seems to be a political agenda backing all of this. But there are so many other ways to respect all students' privacy and to come to solutions so that any student who is uncomfortable using the restroom of their biological sex can be accommodated and helped so that they can feel secure. But you don't need to take away the rights of other students to do that. And that's what's been happening. It's something that, as you said, the administration is pushing out by way of guidance documents, demanding of all of these schools, and threatening to take federal funding if the schools don't comply.
Okay, now, I'm not a lawyer like you are, but I question this. How can a government entity, whether it's the Department of Justice or whomever, how can they redefine the law and the meaning of the law to serve their own purposes? How can they get away with this?
Well, what they're doing is illegal, and we need a court to tell them that. But how they're trying to accomplish it is through Title IX, which was enacted in the 70s, in large part to bring equality with women's education. The Department of Education has radically reinterpreted Title IX to say that it applies to gender identity, specifically that when Title IX talks about sex discrimination, that it also means gender identity. That's not something that Title IX ever meant. It's not something that was contemplated in the statute when it was passed. It's not how the courts have treated it since then. In fact, Congress since then has considered passing bills that would add protections for gender identity separate from Title IX, thereby recognizing that Title IX doesn't actually include that. Yet the Department of Education and the Department of Justice with it as an enforcement branch have determined that they believe it's in there, or they want it to be in there, and that's how they're interpreting it and requiring schools to comply. They haven't gone through any process to actually add that language to the statute. We believe if they went through that process, they would see how illegal it is in terms of the privacy interest.
I can't imagine, Kate, honestly, the turmoil, the stress, the problems, the lawsuits, and yes, even physical violence that will occur with a basic flaunting of regardless of whether you're male or female, we're going to come in, we're going to do what we want in the locker rooms and the restrooms across this United States. This is anarchy.
Our concern is the students. Every student's privacy and safety matters, and school needs to be a safe environment for students to learn and grow and gain the skills that they need to succeed in the world. It's not a place where they need to deal with political agendas.
You know, I'm probably stretching this out a little bit, but bear with me. If you identify that you want to be a woman and you're biologically a male, and that way you can go in and use any facility you want, or in the case of now many people saying, well, no, I'm not white, I want to be black, or I want to be Asian, even though I don't look like it. Where do you draw the line on this, Kate? There's got to be some definition here pretty soon, or anybody can be what they want to be.
Gender identity is something that's hard to legislate because there's no clear definition. There's somewhat fluidity in the definitions. Therefore, that's why it's best to deal with each student's needs as they arise and what makes that student comfortable in school so they can succeed, but again, not ignoring the rights of other students and their need to succeed in school.
Now, we'd mentioned Illinois and Michigan are having some major problems over children's privacy and safety. What other states are looming on the horizon, and what would you tell my listeners and as parents what they should be aware of and how to stop this?
Well, North Carolina is definitely a state to watch in terms of the bill that they passed and the court battle that's going to ensue with the federal government. But really every state is at issue here, and every parent needs to be aware of this issue. In 2014, the Department of Education pushed this guidance document stating that gender identity is included in sex in Title IX out to every school, and is encouraging every school in the nation to pass these kinds of policies, like was passed in Palatine, Illinois, to allow a biological male into the girls' locker rooms and restrooms. Every parent needs to be aware of what's going on at their schools and talking with their children about it. In most of the schools, including in Palatine, Illinois, that we've run into, the schools are not notifying parents ahead of time when they pass these policies. The students are finding out because they walk into a restroom and they see a boy that they know in the restroom. So it's something that you should be talking with your school about, talking with your school board about. You can always contact us. We have a model policy that we're encouraging school districts to pass if they're concerned about this issue. That policy basically says that they should accommodate students that need accommodation, but they should keep their locker rooms and bathrooms separated by biological sex, as is allowed under Title IX and is appropriate.
I just can't imagine why big money sources like the National Basketball Association or the NCAA with the collegiate ranks, they're actually making threats to communities and businesses to go along with this filth and this sleaze. I can't understand why they're jumping on the bandwagon for a very minuscule percentage of people, and why they're not standing up for family values.
Well, the privacy of every student matters, and I think parents recognize that and are starting to speak up. You saw what happened with Target and the boycott against Target. People are letting the government, they're letting their school districts, and they're letting these businesses know that they want their bathrooms separated and they want their children's privacy respected.
Okay, now, Alliance Defending Freedom. It's a pretty big outfit, but now, boy, everybody is really kind of concerned about the amount of money that the left has to buy big, high-priced attorneys and put this in the forefront. What can the general public do to help you and or the Alliance Defending Freedom? I mean, what can we do?
Well, we're a nonprofit legal organization, and we fight for the right of every person to live according to their faith, and so we're doing all of our work pro bono for these clients, and it's a great honor to do that.
Is there anything else about these very insidious means and methods that are going on in Michigan and back in North Carolina and also Illinois? I mean, what else is there you want to bring out for people to really understand?
Just understand that every student's privacy and safety matters. School is an important place for students to learn and grow. They don't need to be dealing with these issues. Parents can support their students in voicing their opinions and asserting their rights, and that's important. That's very, very important. These students that need additional accommodation can be accommodated in a respectful way, and all of the students can experience privacy and safety and dignity respected in their schools, and they should.
But, you know, there's one word that we keep using all the time, and I'm highly critical of a lack of involvement of this group of people, and that's parents themselves. I mean, I think more parents, like in Illinois, like in Michigan, and like in the Carolinas, they should be speaking up, speaking out, getting involved, going to the board meetings, letting the school board know they're not going to put up with this. Would you agree?
I absolutely agree that parents can make a huge difference with their school boards. The school boards aren't sure what to do. They're being told by the Department of Education that they have to pass these policies. Many recognize the harm this will have on their children in their schools, and they don't want to pass them, but they need the support of parents helping them to make those decisions and to giving them the resources in terms of a voice to oppose these policies and to support them if they are challenged by the Department of Education. Parents are beginning to speak out more and more and to realize that they can and to learn about these policies. It's a very new issue because, like I said, the Department of Education only brought this out around 2014 and only has been pushing it as adamantly as they have in the last probably 6 months or so. So parents are just learning about these policies in their schools. They should go to their school board, to their superintendent, and they should support their students and let their students know that they support them.
One other category I want you to respond to, and on this program I don't pull any punches, I just absolutely am very blunt. I think churches need to do a lot more. Churches from the pulpit, the ministers, the heads of churches, they're not doing enough to speak out against this.
Again, churches can support parents, and they can support the school districts as well, and they can support the students. And I have been seeing churches step up and do some of that in local communities.
Okay, well, Kate, I appreciate it. Come back again in the future if you would. Alliance Defending Freedom Legal Counsel, Kate Anderson. God bless you, and thank you for coming on the program this morning.
God bless you, and thank you for having me.
You're very welcome. Thank you. You know, never in my life did I ever think that we would see something as insidiously dirty as to what's going on in our society right now. You know, somebody can say, well, I'm a guy, but I'm going to identify as a girl, so I'm going to start using the ladies' facilities, both locker rooms and restrooms, and we can't do anything about it? Are you kidding me? Have we reached that point in our society? I was talking to a young father. He's about 38, 39 the other day. And he said, and I don't blame him at all, he said, woe betide the individual, the male individual, that is in a public restroom, excuse me, with my young daughter. And I don't blame him at all. This is sick and perverted. We're going to do a weather forecast right now, and the weather brought to you by Lennox Home Comfort Systems. And then I'll take some more calls. We're going to open up the phone line for you to respond about anything you want to talk about for the next 10 minutes or so. Ramsey Heating and Electric is offering rebates on qualified Lennox Home Comfort Systems. Whether it's a gas furnace, air conditioner, or a heat pump, you and your family will enjoy the comfort. Call them at 678-0459. Ramsey Heating and Electric and Lennox can save you money. Right now, here's the weather with Gina.
Sunny and windy for today because we have that wind advisory through 8 o'clock tonight. Good Monday. Winds out of the west right around 26 miles an hour for today. But it is going to be sunny, so I guess that's the bright side. High at 55, tonight low of 35. Tomorrow winds dying down, partly cloudy and 58. Overnight low of 37. Mostly sunny and 68 for Wednesday, and then could possibly see a high of 80 for Thursday. Yesterday's high was 70. The overnight low was 50. That's your weather for Zebit Durant.
Thank you very much, Gina. And the weather brought to you by Ramsey Heating and Electric, offering qualified rebates on Lennox Home Comfort Systems. Call them today at 678-0459 and learn how Ramsey Heating and Electric and Lennox can save you money. All right, now it's your turn. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I'd like to hear from you. One thing that really, really bothers me is why think about all this money for spending on either gender-neutral bathrooms or locker room facilities or whatever. Why not take some of that money and offer psychiatric care for those that really need help? That really need help in our society. That's never even been talked about. And don't give me this garbage. Oh, well, has been the case in the story on many that we've heard. Well, I was born to be a woman. Well, you weren't. God doesn't make mistakes. Evidently, through your childhood, through your parental upbringing and guidance, or maybe teaching or whatever, you learned the wrong way to go, and maybe you need psychiatric care. I would much rather see the money go and be spent that way. Don't be cowards. Give me a call. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Please give me a jingle on the landline and the time remaining for this hour. I'd love to hear from you. That's the nice thing about the audience that I have. They always are willing to jump in on some touchy situations. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
You know something, the power of suggestion or an example that is seen by the children, and whether or not they see it on TV or in their social media. I mean, everybody has a phone, and, you know, they can access virtually anything they want, and unless the parents, anything they want, and unless the parents are monitoring it, and I mean, it's so much data running through that you say to yourself, you know, if you're so busy and you're not even monitoring what your children are seeing, you really don't even know what they're learning, and you have no control over it. I mean, my daughter has 4 daughters, my granddaughters, that live in American Falls, and apparently in American Falls High School, there is no, in Burley High School, there is no public display of affection. That's the way I was explained to me. In American Falls High School, apparently they don't have that, you know, there. And the girls are with each other, you know, necking, to put it bluntly. And my granddaughters, who are cheerleaders in high school, see this, and you say, what kind of a example, what kind of a situation is such that American Falls, conservative Idaho, small city, has this going on in the high school?
I'm appalled. I'm appalled at the status of uncivilization that we're going to. We're not a civilized society anymore. We're not a polite society anymore. We are not a society that knows right from wrong anymore. We have turned into a society that minimizes and ridicules biblical upbringing. And I, for one, am not going to change. I'm not going to join their little Mickey Mouse club. I'm going to keep fighting them. And I know you will too. But we need people to speak out and speak up, because the sick, perverted part of our society is gaining traction as kind of a, oh, this is the in thing to do. And Randy, we got to fight it every time we can.
Well, a year ago, somebody said LGBT to me, and I was like, what is that? What are you talking about? Now, everybody in America that's capable of understanding it knows what it is. Yeah. And they are getting their way. Yeah. Every day you hear something about this on the news or social media, and you say to yourself, they are winning. Well, they are winning, and we are flat-footed. And the defensive lineman is knocking us on our you-know-what.
You know, Randy, it's really interesting that years ago, when the animal rights kooks and crackpots started coming out of the woodwork, everybody kind of scoffed at them and laughed at them, and they said, well, they won't gain any traction. And now, today, they are extremely powerful with a lot of money in their coffers, and they're dictating to agriculture. They're dictating to the sporting world that uses animals for various sports, whether it's rodeo, horse racing, dog shows, whatever. And the same thing is happening here. We sat back and we laughed at this movement, but it's not funny because they're gaining traction and they're gaining money from the extremely sleazy liberal left.
Oh, it's unbelievable. Just an example of how it infiltrates into our lives, and then I'm going to hang up. I have 4 granddaughters who spent the weekend with us for Mother's Day. And they were riding the 4-wheeler around the yard, 3 of them. The one granddaughter was in the bedroom with her friend that she brought on the phone. Yeah. They were on social media virtually the entire weekend, and I didn't go in and go, well, let me look at that, and I'm going to decide whether or not this is right or wrong. I didn't do it. And I feel like it's not really my place, it's my daughter's place to raise our grandchildren. But you see, we do not know what they are doing, and these children are being raised right. But even then, it things can go. Let's face it.
Yep.
Not every child is the same.
I agree with you, buddy, and I thank you for your viewpoints this morning. Thank you very much.
You bet, bye.
Appreciate your call. You know, that's just it. We need more involvement, and we need more of a simple 2-letter word. Just 2 letters. No. No. And that's it. Oh my, we got more people that are running for political office, including Scott Yates, running for the office of Cassia County Sheriff. Scott is not part of the establishment, and he said as Cassia County Sheriff, Scott Yates will be serving and representing the residents of Cassia County. He believes that exceptional communities set higher goals, and Cassia County is an exceptional county. Vote for Scott Yates for Cassia County Sheriff May 17th, paid for by the Yates for Cassia County Sheriff Committee, Treasurer Julie Jaime. Also, another lady that is running for re-election as soon as I can turn the page, and that's Maxine Bell, running for representative of District 25A. Re-elect Maxine Bell as your representative for District 25A. Maxine has served our community since 1988. She's the chairman of the Appropriations Committee, co-leader of the Joint Finance Appropriations, and on the Agricultural Affairs and Joint Legislative Oversight Committees. Don't forget, vote for Maxine Bell, Representative District 25A, paid for by the re-elect Maxine Bell for District 25A Committee, Linda Burton, Treasurer. I've got time for one more call. Give me a jingle, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I'd like to hear what you have to say. Coming up next hour, we're going to have Maureen Ferguson, and she is the Senior Policy Advisor for the Catholics Association. And she's going to be talking about something else that I read a little bit about over the weekend, and that's Hillary Clinton basically slamming a new law banning abortions on babies with Down syndrome. Oh, my goodness. Hillary in the news, and none of it ever is any good when you hear the name Hillary. And then at 10:32 this morning, we're going to have live and direct right here in the studio a gentleman that is running for the Twin Falls County Sheriff's position, and that's Cliff Katona. He's going to be here in the studio telling everybody in Twin Falls County why they should vote for him on May 17th. Let's see, have I got anything else here planned? Oh, by the way, I got to tell you this crazy story. Here we have Obama turning loose 58 more hard-time criminals to a total of 308 that he's commuted their sentence. And meanwhile, back east, a couple that had an overdue library book, they were threatened with 3 months in jail and a huge fine because they had misplaced a library book in their home, a Dr. Seuss book. And they were threatened because the book was late with 3 months in jail and a $500 fine. Ay, 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 ay. My grandmother used to say, oh my, the world is tipped upside down with idiots. And unfortunately, 99% of those idiots are in control of our government. We're going to have This Good Word by Tawny Crane, and then we're going to have Wheels play music up to CBS News. I'll be back in just a couple of minutes. Don't go away, Zeb at the Ranch on a Monday. You stay tuned. All right, here we go. Hour number 3 on what is supposed to be an extremely breezy day out there. And if you're wearing a hat, put the stampede strings on because it's going to get a little windy out there. Good morning, Zeb at the Ranch with our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations serving you, along with some of our great advertisers like Western Waste Services, always at your disposal. Call 734-6969. And right now, Wheels, if you would, This Good Word for Roy Prescott.
With over 40 years of dedicated community service, Roy Prescott brings experience to real issues facing Jerome County today. Roy Prescott, the Jerome County Commissioner. Responsible leadership for a better Jerome County.
Paid for by Prescott for Commissioner Catherine Hanks, Treasurer. Don't forget to go vote on May 17th. I urge you to mark that on your calendar because it's a very, very important day for all patriots to go vote. On behalf of Senator Kelly Anthon, Representative Fred Wood, and Speaker of the House Scott Bedke, go exercise your responsibility of each citizen, and that is to go vote. Don't forget your picture ID and be proud of who you are when you go to the polls. Absolutely vote on May 17th. Paid for by Senator Kelly Anthon, Representative Fred Wood, and House Speaker Scott Bedke. Let's go to the phone lines in just a moment. Stand by. Our guest is waiting. Lennox Home Comfort Systems with Ramsey Heating and Electric offering rebates on qualified Lennox Home Comfort Systems. Whether it's a gas furnace, an air conditioner, or a heat pump, you and your family will enjoy the comfort. Don't forget, Ramsey Heating and Electric can save you money on Lennox. Call them today at 678-0459. We were trying to get this lady on the program last week, and she had some scheduling difficulties, and so we postponed it until this day, Monday. And this lovely lady is the Senior Policy Advisor for the Catholic Association, Maureen Ferguson. Maureen, good morning. How are you?
Good morning. It's good to be with you.
When I read your story in regards to Hillary Clinton slamming a new law banning abortion on babies with Down syndrome, I shook my head and I thought, just how low can this woman go? Give us a little background on this story, would you please?
Sure. Well, in the state of Indiana, they just recently passed a law saying that you can't target babies who've been diagnosed with Down syndrome for abortion because of the very aggressive prenatal testing that doctors do now. Many babies with Down syndrome are aborted, sadly, before they see the light of day. And the percentages are actually very high when there's been a prenatal diagnosis for abortion. Sadly, about anywhere, there are different statistics, but anywhere from about 80 to 95% of women choose to have an abortion if they know the baby has Down syndrome. And sadly, I really think these women are making kind of a panicked choice. But the state of Indiana passed a law saying that you cannot abort a baby just because you have found out that that baby has Down syndrome. Well, Hillary Clinton has been out there on the campaign trail talking about how this is a terrible law and endorsing the idea of aborting babies who have Down syndrome. And, of course, anybody who knows a family who has a child with Down syndrome knows that those children are just the center of joy and life in their families. These are precious, precious children that have a purity and a love that the rest of us can only strive to have. So it's very, heroic that the state of Indiana, the governor there, signed the bill. And it's just, sad is the adjective that keeps coming to mind. But that Hillary Clinton is out there on the campaign trail specifically advocating for the abortion of children with Down syndrome is just tragic.
I'm sitting here, honestly, Maureen, with tears in my eyes because we are turning into a society of total uncivilized attitudes as far as I'm concerned. When we talk about being a right to kill, a right to say, well, this person's not good enough, so they're not going to live. This person might have a malfunction of a limb, maybe a leg or an arm that's not going to work, so we'll go ahead and we'll kill him or her. What kind of a crazy society are we living in?
Uncivilized is a really good word because in a civilized society, we should care for the most vulnerable people among us. And these babies that have a disability or have Down syndrome, they should evoke in our hearts love and a desire to care for them and protect them. But yet you have the political leader of the Democratic Party specifically saying that people should have a right to kill these babies. And it's completely tragic. It's totally uncivilized. And it's reflective of this larger cultural trend in which life is not viewed as a gift and as precious, and people who are quote unquote imperfect, in many ways we're very schizophrenic as a society on this, because on the one hand, we passed the Americans with Disabilities Act. So now, every restaurant has a handicapped bathroom and a handicapped ramp for a person who might be confined to a wheelchair. And all of this happened by law, by change in law. But yet, at the same time, we have laws that allow the killing of persons with disabilities, precisely because they have a disability. And, it's really very schizophrenic. It's uncivilized. I think your word choice there was good.
I would like to see every Planned Parenthood closed down. I would like to see a vacancy sign on their door. And Hillary Clinton, for more reasons than I have time to go into right now, I do not want that woman to go into the Oval Office unless it's on a paid guided tour. I despise her viewpoints. And this is just one more reason when she's also advocating possible abortion on babies with Down syndrome, and she's asking for more taxpayer money, my money and your money, to put more money into Planned Parenthood to kill more babies. This is insane.
It's absolutely right. This position from Hillary Clinton in favor of aborting babies with Down syndrome, this is not an isolated case. She has a long record of abortion advocacy. She was honored. She was given the Margaret Sanger Award, the founder of Planned Parenthood. She was given their highest award, Planned Parenthood's highest award. She has been out there on the campaign trail, campaigning on tax funding of abortion. She has been campaigning on late-term abortion. She is against this bill in Congress, which is seeking to ban abortions after 20 weeks. The United States is one of only 5 countries in the entire world that allows abortion past 20 weeks. And Hillary Clinton wants us to continue to be in that very bad countries that allow late-term abortion, like China, North Korea. It's not a healthy group of countries to be in. But Hillary Clinton has a long record of extremism on the abortion issue. And people should have their eyes wide open about that. She would be the most pro-abortion president in history, and that's saying a lot given everything that Barack Obama has already done on the issue.
I want to go back to that, and I know it's going back in time for something that we can't control or something that we couldn't change now, but you did mention Barack Obama, and my thoughts about him are not very positive, because as an Illinois senator, he was advocating partial birth abortion and basically put the baby on a gurney if it's still alive and let it die in a closet. Is that the mantra of the Democratic Party?
It's true that, the abortion issue, we know how much it devalues life. And it's pushing the envelope not just in terms of the baby's life in the womb, but even soon after birth if a baby survives an abortion. And Barack Obama, as a state senator, was opposed to a bill. He was the lead guy fighting against a bill which would have protected a baby born alive after an abortion, which of course is downright infanticide. And Hillary Clinton, when she was in the United States Senate, she voted against a bill to ban partial birth abortion. So she has a very, very extreme position on abortion. People should know very clearly how extreme Hillary Clinton's pro-abortion position is.
I want you to expand a little bit on a couple of quotes that I read in an article that you had put together for us, and one of them was that Hillary Clinton had made the statement and suggested that deep-seated cultural codes, religious beliefs, and structural biases have to be changed. I really want you to elaborate on that. It sounds to me like another attack on Christianity and moral values.
Absolutely. She does not have a respect for the Judeo-Christian view on the sanctity of human life. And more our political demands and cultural norms are clashing with our Judeo-Christian view of the sanctity of human life. And I'll just give you one example. 1 in 6 hospital beds in the country are in a Catholic hospital. At Catholic hospitals, they don't do abortions. Well, groups like the ACLU, and with the support of people like Hillary Clinton, are suing Catholic hospitals, saying that you have to provide abortions. There's all kind of conflict like this with Catholic charities and we're seeing this on many other issues as well, that from the left they are telling people like us, well, you have to change your views. And we've seen one attack after another on the issue of religious liberty. One of the most glaring examples of this, of course, is President Obama's health care bill, which says that every health plan has to include contraceptives, including those that are abortifacients, that can cause an early abortion, like the week after pill. So it causes an early abortion, this week after pill, because the baby could be 8 days old by that time. And the Obama administration has told even Catholic employers like Catholic universities, Catholic charities, Catholic religious orders like the Little Sisters of the Poor, that they have to include these objectionable drugs and devices in their health care plan. And this is the case that we saw recently that worked its way all the way up to the Supreme Court, the Little Sisters of the Poor versus President Obama's health care bill. And that case was heard in March. We're probably going to be hearing a decision in that case soon. So people should really be keeping our Supreme Court justices in your prayers and keeping this whole case of the Little Sisters of the Poor. And they have many co-plaintiffs as well, Catholic dioceses and the like, and educational institutions, Baptist institutions, other Christian institutions, which have been fighting this HHS mandate as well. But people really need to be praying about this and speaking up. And, this is a country that was founded on religious liberty. Just last night I was studying for a history test with my 5th grade son, and he was talking about how the Pilgrims came here in search of religious freedom. This is part of our First Amendment. It is enshrined in our Constitution. The First Amendment guarantees our right to the free exercise of religion. Yet it is more and more coming under attack from the Obama administration. And if you think we've been under attack in the Obama administration, just wait until Hillary Clinton is in charge.
I want to say this, Maureen, and please understand why I'm saying it this way, but I don't care if it's the Catholic Association, I don't care if it's Lutherans, I don't care if it's Presbyterians, I don't care if it's Baptist, I don't care if it's Mormons. They had all better start standing up for a value system in this country, or it's going to die.
It's true. It is time for people of faith to make their voices heard, to defend our rights, to practice our faith, not just within the 4 walls of our church on a Sunday morning, but out there in the public square, in the workplace, Monday to Friday. on so many fronts, this is coming under attack. And, you know, in the news today, your listeners might be hearing something about this North Carolina bathroom bill.
Yes.
The state of North Carolina passed a bill saying, well, if you're a man, you have to use the man's bathroom. And
Yes.
if you're a female, you have to use the female bathroom. And the Obama Justice Department has gone after them. And this case has huge implications, because it's essentially erasing the distinction between us humans as male and female. And this order from the Justice Department, which the governor of North Carolina has decided to fight, has implications across the entire country, because they're redefining what sex and gender mean, and they're redefining it to kind of mean nothing. I think it's really time for people to wake up and get educated about these issues, and, you know, in a spirit of love and respect towards everybody, engage in this debate, because there are some very basic tenets of our faith, the fact that we're created male and female, that are really under attack.
Well, you know, and I will say this, Maureen, because I'm carrying a lot on that story. As a matter of fact, just preceding you, we had a half hour on those stories, and last week many, many more about what's going on with the supposed filthy bathroom bill. And we're losing our morality in this country. And I am absolutely asking all my audience to stand up and be counted, because if Hillary Clinton is elected as the next president to carry on and perpetrate Obama's sleazy attitudes from the last 8 years, we're going to be seeing much more and much worse of what we're talking about this morning. Would you agree with that?
I do think clearly Hillary Clinton will continue these aggressive policies that we've seen from the Obama administration in limiting our religious freedom, in pushing the abortion agenda down our throats, in redefining basic issues of sexuality and our ability to practice our faith on these issues. It's really it's hard to understate, but this is an incredible onslaught that has come from the Obama administration, and that a Hillary Clinton administration would certainly aggressively continue to pursue.
One last point, and I got to have you respond to this, because I just about fell off my chair when I read this, and it was in the article that was sent for this morning's program. At a presidential forum at Drake University, Clinton called the ending of life of another human being a fundamental human right. Oh, my goodness. A fundamental human right, Maureen. Please, what's she mean here?
It's just such an example of how black is white and white is black, and everything's being redefined. We began by talking about this Indiana law, which says you can't abort your baby because your baby has Down syndrome. Well, Hillary Clinton's statement on that was, quote, "We have to defend a woman's right to her own health care decision." Her own health care decision. We're not talking about a health care decision for a woman. We're talking about the life of the baby with Down syndrome. It has nothing to do with the health of a woman. A state of pregnancy, and in these cases, it's an intended pregnancy. State of pregnancy for a woman is a natural state. That's not an unhealthy state. But this is seeking to prevent a woman aborting because the baby has a disability. But yet Hillary Clinton she's so blind to the existence of the baby that even her language reflects that you can't abort a baby with Down syndrome because a woman has to make her own health care decisions. I mean, we're talking about the health of the baby. the life of the baby. Nothing to do with the woman's health in this situation.
And I've said this before on my program, and I'll say it again. Give me a short response. I've only got about 2 minutes left in this segment. But way too often, in way too many cases, in way too many major cities, abortions are used as nothing more than a mere birth control device for women that absolutely have no caring or love.
Well, sadly, the repeat abortion rate is pretty high. It's different in different places. The repeat abortion rate is certainly not because of any lack of access to contraception. Contraception is already widely available for free through things like the Title X program and other government programs. So it's not due to a lack of contraceptive access. It's due to a lack of respect for human life and a respect for one's body and sexuality, and it's very, very sad that the repeat abortion rate is as high as it is.
I really want to thank you for coming on the program this morning. The Senior Policy Advisor for the Catholic Association, Maureen Ferguson. And boy, please come back in the near future, Maureen. Excellent interview this morning. Thank you so much.
Sure, I'm glad to be with you. Thanks.
Thank you very much. Wow. The things that politicians say and the stands that they take is, in this case with Hillary Clinton, absolutely an insidious point of view, and all the more reason why I hope and pray she never gets to be President of the United States. Oh my, we got to pay some bills here real quick, and I want to remind you on Thursdays we have a program segment called School Days in Cassia County, and it's brought to you by A Child's World at 1308 Overland in Burley, and they've got all their summer clothes in there. Believe me, they've got all the baby clothing, they've got all the baby furniture, and of course, you remember every Tuesday is Special Grandparents Discount Day. You can get in there and shop and save a lot of money for the grandchildren, and they've got all the Cherokee and Dickey scrubs, too, at Child's World, 1308 Overland in Burley. Along with the Ambulatory Surgery Center at 1344 Highland in Burley for all your outpatient surgeries. Don't forget the doctors there who serve you take Regents Blue Shield insurance, and they now have the only machine in all the Magic Valley that can help correct glaucoma. So don't forget, call them and find out more, 677-8888. Ambulatory Surgery Center and a Child's World, bringing you School Days in Cassia County. Want to remind you, too, that Kelly Anthon is running for Idaho State Senator. He needs your vote on May 17th. This man has been a strong voice for agriculture and has a proven record of success in economic development. And he believes in the rights to speak freely, bear arms, and practice religion must be defended. Don't forget, Kelly has a unique ability to represent the entire Magic Valley and Mini-Cassia area, and he wants your vote on May 17th. Don't forget, Kelly Anthon for Idaho State Senator. Vote to re-elect Kelly Anthon. State Senator Committee, Elaine Stevenson, Treasurer. Right now, let's send it back over to our main studio for about 3 minutes, and we'll be back with Cliff Katona running for Twin Falls County Sheriff. Stay tuned.
And now, back to Zeb at the Ranch on AM 1230 KBAR. To reach Zeb, call 436-2244 or toll free 1-866-927-4587. And now, here is Zeb Bell.
Welcome back. Hour number 3, Zeb at the Ranch on a Monday morning, and we're going to have our guest with us momentarily. I want to remind you, too, that Red's Trading Post is sponsoring our Second Amendment every Thursday, and we want to say thanks to Ryan Horsley and the rest of his crew at 203 5th Avenue South in Twin Falls. The very best and biggest selection of firearms from Browning, Beretta, Weatherby, Ruger, Benelli, Smith & Wesson, and Winchester, along with all the ammunition and the extras, the accessories. Stop in and see them today. Red's Trading Post in Twin Falls. And don't forget on Thursdays at 10:30, our Second Amendment. Want to remind you, too, about our dear friends with Lennox Home Comfort Systems. Don't forget forget, right there at Ramsey Heating and Electric and Lennox, they can save you money on those home comfort systems. You be sure and give Ramsey's a call today at 678-0459 and learn how Ramsey Heating and Electric and Lennox can save you money. We have a gentleman running for Jerome County Sheriff. Doug McFall wants your vote on May 17th, and he's running for re-election. 39 years in law enforcement, 24 as an Idaho State Police trooper, and was very instrumental in getting the new jail facility built in Jerome County. And he has the experience and knowledge and the ethics to do another great job for you. As Jerome County Sheriff, Doug McFall wants your vote May 17th, paid for by the McFall for Jerome County Sheriff Committee, Cinda Morgan, Treasurer. Well, it seems like we have all kinds of folks that are running for positions and also a lot of county sheriffs around the area of Magic Valley. And this young man, young because he's a lot younger than I am, is running for candidate for the Twin Falls County Sheriff's Office. Cliff Katona, good morning. How are you?
Good morning, Zeb.
I need you to get real close to that microphone.
Good morning, Zeb. How are you?
I am fantastic. Well, give us a little background about everything that we wanted to know about Cliff Katona.
Okay, I'll try to do that. When I retired from law enforcement and I decided to run for Twin Falls County Sheriff, I actually set out on a mission, and that mission was not to do the political thing in Twin Falls County, but to introduce myself to folks and let them know who I am and where I'm from. And basically, I've told them that I am retired law enforcement, 28 years honorably. I started my law enforcement career when I was 25 years old in the city of Pocatello in 1985. Following 6 years, I decided I wanted to go work for the state police, and I applied, I got accepted, and my first duty station was Twin Falls. Mm-hmm. So I've been in Twin Falls since 1992. I worked the road as a trooper for just about 3 years, and in 1995, I got promoted to a detective. So my last 19 years of my 28-year career was a detective with the state police doing a variety of, multitude of things.
Why do you feel, Cliff, that there's a need or a reason for you to try to be county sheriff of Twin Falls?
Well, to put it simply, Zeb, I'm just not done serving yet. I retired, went to work over at the hospital for 16 months, security, and it was a lot of fun. It was the easiest thing I ever did, but I was so used to doing so much more. And I just realized I am not done serving. I just turned 56 years old. I feel like I have a lot to offer. And I want to take the sheriff's office to a whole new level. I believe I've sit back as a Twin Falls County resident, and I've watched the last nearly 8 years. And it appears that the sheriff's office has become somewhat stagnated. I don't see any vision for the future. I mean, we're 82,000 in population now, soon to be 100,000 by 2020 projected. So I don't want to wake up in 2020 and we're still where we were 8 or 10 years ago, 15 years ago. I just want to take the sheriff's office to a whole new level, and to do that, I have some ideas about becoming a visible sheriff and have my deputies become more visible and be involved in the community, increase our narcotics enforcement. That's one thing I do know a lot about is narcotics enforcement, and we do still have a drug problem in Twin Falls County, and it has to be worked aggressively in cooperation with other agencies.
Cliff, what about the status of the sheriff's office itself? I mean, are they understaffed? Do they have adequate manpower? It's a huge county. Are they getting their job done?
We have over 3,000 miles of roadway in Twin Falls County. We're 1,982 square miles. Like I say, about 82,000 in population. And since I've been out campaigning for 16 months, I've been told by many, many people they don't feel that we're adequately have manpower, that people in Cassford, Murtaugh area very seldom see a deputy, and if they do, it's for a short time. They don't have a one-on-one relationship with the deputy, and I believe Sheriff's Office is rural law enforcement. They should have a good rapport with the outlying communities. In the paper, they for some reason they thought that I was going to come in office and put on a whole bunch of people. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that to be prepared for our 100,000 population, why can't we put on one deputy a year or two deputies a year until we reach that? I've been told by supervisors at the sheriff's office that on any one given time, on an average, they are lucky if they have 4 people on. Normally
Really?
it's 3.
For the size of Twin
For the
Falls
size
County.
of Twin Falls County. And that's not me talking. That's coming from people at the sheriff's office.
All right, when you hear a cow, that means we have a call.
I just heard that.
Okay.
I didn't know if it was milking time or what.
No. These are beef cattle on this program.
Okay.
Anyway, caller, good morning. You're on the air. Go ahead.
Good morning. My question's for Mr. Katona. I've been going to a lot of these campaign speeches and things like that lately, and kind of learned a couple of things, so I'll make this really short. My question's 2-part. Number one, it's my understanding that Tom Carter has put 2 deputies as school resource officers. One of them is a sergeant, one of them is a deputy, because he claims that we need to have school resource officers in our outlying communities, Murtaugh, Castleford, Hollister. However, he's also made in another statement that we have enough deputies out working, but then again he contradicts himself by saying if there's a call for service, a Kimberly officer can run to Murtaugh or a Buell officer can run to Castleford. What is your take on, that's the 2-part question, what is your take on the school resource officers, and what can you do to put more resource officers out there? Because I've heard you say that before. And again, the other part of that. So again, thank you for your time.
Thank you for your call. Cliff, go ahead.
Thank you for your question, sir. Those are very good, great questions. First of all, I am actually I'm an instructor for active shooters, and I don't believe that any one deputy should be a school resource officer. I believe every deputy should actually be a school resource officer. When I'm going to encourage deputies when they drive through Hollister or Castleford or Murtaugh, hey, stop into the school, say hello, meet the staff, maybe have lunch with the kids. If there's an active shooter incident, the chances of a SWAT team member being there are probably slim to none. The chances of the school resource officer being there may not be all that great. So why not have every deputy drive by and stop in that school when they have that opportunity to do that? I think it would be actually more visible, and the school would feel safe, the children would feel safe.
What about the part of the question I think he was also asking about putting more officers on? Is there the money in not only the sheriff's department but the county?
You know, Zeb, I've sat down with the county commissioners, I've studied the budget for the last 6 years, and yes, there is the money available there if the sheriff would ask for the manpower. There's a large amount of money that gets turned back from fuel savings and from out of county inmate housing. So, you know, what I would like to do is, and I've talked about this before, and I've got some slack over it from my opponent, about substations in Hollister area, Castleford, Murtaugh. And substations are not manned 24 hours a day. They don't cost anything. I belong to the Castleford Men's Club, and those gentlemen have told me, we will make it happen here. We own this building. A substation is a place for a deputy to go and meet with a citizen if there's a follow-up on a crime or a traffic accident, just where they can be a little bit more visible. It certainly is not a 24/7 manned place, but I don't believe that it's the responsibility for Buell police officers to respond to Castleford or Balance Rock if a deputy is not available. If I live in Buell and I call for help and dispatch tells me they can't come and help me because the Buell officer is in Balance Rock or Castleford, that's not doing justice to our citizens.
Well, Cliff, let me ask you this question, and then I've got to do a commercial break. But over here on the East End, and we have felt like, and I'm speaking on behalf of many of my neighbors right now, that we are kind of the orphan group of citizens from Twin Falls County, and we don't get the representation that we feel we need. Well, many times I've heard that officers are maybe dispatched over here, and then they get a call, and they're wanted over in the Buell, Castleford area. We need more officers, I would assume. Is there not the funding for this?
Well, my opponent has said that he turns back $320,000 to the county commissioner, to the county every year, and I've had citizens ask me, if there's that much money getting turned back, why can't a small portion of that go to put more deputies on? And that's a good question, and that's why I went to the county commissioners. I said, please show me what this budget looks like, and I've studied the budget, and the money would be there. As we're growing, it's doing an injustice to our citizens to have to call the sheriff's office and have to wait. Now, there's some great people at the sheriff's office. There's some great talent down there, and I'm going to utilize that talent. But I believe that the administration needs, and I'll put it bluntly, somewhat of an overhaul.
Okay, we're on the air with Cliff Katona, and he's running for the candidacy for the Twin Falls County Sheriff's Office. Your calls are welcome and appreciated. We'll take a commercial break and be right back with more. Don't forget, Roger Morley is running for re-election for District 3 Jerome County Commissioner. Roger has served as County Commissioner in Jerome for 2 terms, and he also has 2 terms as an Idaho Senate lobbyist and as a Jerome County Planning and Zoning Commissioner. He wants to serve you more in the future. Roger Morley for re-election for District 3 Jerome County Commissioner, paid for by Morley for Commissioner, Lorraine Morley, Treasurer. And also, our thanks go out to more of our political candidates. Tim Darrington is running for Cassia County Commissioner, District 3. As a lifelong resident of Cassia County, as a farmer and rancher and steward of the land, he wants your vote. He wants to protect our natural resources, our land, air, and water, and he wants to provide good roads, safe environment, and a great quality of life for Cassia County. Don't forget, he wants to do what is best for the citizens of Cassia County now and for future generations. Vote for Tim Darrington, Cassia County Commissioner, District 3, paid for by Darrington for Commissioner, Gail Erickson, Treasurer. Caller, go ahead. Right after your call, I'll do the weather forecast. You're on the air.
Okay, yeah, I was just wondering, he knows what happened there in Oregon with the Federals. Is he going to stand up to the federal government and not bow down to them?
That's a good question, and as a matter of fact, before Cliff came on the air this morning, briefly we talked about this. Cliff, do you think that most people that are candidates for being a county sheriff or already existing county sheriffs really understand what their duty and commitment is to the Constitution?
No, Zeb, I don't. In fact, and I've been vocal about this. I believe there's 2 reasons. One is they do not understand the 10th Amendment and why the 10th Amendment was put in place, or they are very intimidated by the federal government. I've worked at a lot of federal agencies as a state police employee, and I've never had any issues with them. But I am committed to be a constitutional sheriff. I took the oath to uphold the Constitution when I was in the military, when I became a police officer, when I became a state employee, and I will continue to do that as sheriff. I'm not afraid to go toe-to-toe with the federal government. I know that the sheriff has the ability to tell the federal government, please leave our county. You are not needed here. You are not wanted here. And the sheriff has the authority to do that.
Do you think, and this is speculation, Cliff, I know it's speculation on another area, another state, but do you think that had the county sheriff, like in the Oregon problem up in Malheur County, used more of his authority, that maybe some of this problem could have been curtailed?
It's hard for me to second-guess what happened because I was not on the ground over there, and since I am retired law enforcement, I'm not in the know of a lot of things. However, I can tell you what I feel I would have done. I would immediately went in there and talked to these folks and let them know, I understand what you're trying to do here, but stop and think about the things that are occurring. Number one is the federal government deemed this a terrorist act when this father and son set fire to sagebrush. Do you not think that they'll think this a terrorist act because you're here taking over this center, this area with weapons? They're going to come in here with weapons. They're not going to just leave. Let me help you handle this. I know the legal system is slow, but it's the best system we have. And my objective and goal is to keep everyone safe, and I wouldn't want to see people pointing guns at each other. I mean, look at the Nevada issue where they shot the man's bulls. It was ridiculous. It didn't have to go that far. And I think the sheriff should stand up right from the beginning and curtail a lot of those problems before they escalate too far.
What do you see as major changes in law enforcement? We're looking at a society right now where it's hard to distinguish good from bad. As a county sheriff, what changes do you think we need to make?
You know, Zeb, I look across the country and I see how almost cold and militant law enforcement's become, and I think it's become like that because, like you said, our society has changed. Used to be parents would tell their children, go to the policeman, they're the good guy. Now it's not so much like that. It's like there's a wedge between, especially the youth. When you have an 18-year-old that tries to take a gun from an officer and shoot him with it, there's a problem. So, and it goes back to what I want to do as far as being involved in our community and have my deputies involved in the community. We are not a metropolitan area. We are grassroots agriculture. You should have a personal relationship with your deputies and your sheriff. You should be able to come and talk to your sheriff any time of the day, whether you voted for him or regardless of what party you belong to.
Absolutely. We're going to have more with Cliff Katona in just a moment. The weather forecast brought to you by Scarro's Meats, 331 North Road, Jerome, 324-7657. They are changing the way we eat, one delicious bite at a time. Your hometown meat cutter, Scarro's Meats. Here's Gina with the weather.
Sunny and windy for today because we have that wind advisory through 8 o'clock tonight. Good Monday. Winds out of the west right around 26 miles an hour for today. But it is going to be sunny, so I guess that's the bright side. High at 55, tonight low of 35. Tomorrow winds dying down, partly cloudy and 58. Overnight low of 37. Mostly sunny and 68 for Wednesday. And then could possibly be a high of 80 for Thursday. Yesterday's high was 70. The overnight low was 50. That's your weather for Devitt Durant.
Thank you, Gina. A little windy today. Look out. Scarro's Meats bringing you the weather right now at 331 North Road, Jerome, 324-7657. Delicious meats from your hometown meat cutter, changing the way we eat, one delicious bite at a time. By the way, don't forget, Richard Schaefer is running for Minidoka County Commissioner, and he wants your vote on May 17th. A lifetime and lifelong resident of Minidoka County, Richard Schaefer pledges to you that he will promote positive growth, better county relationships, and more county fiscal responsibility. Vote for Richard Schaefer for Minidoka County Commissioner May 17th, paid for by Micheline Rowe, the treasurer of the committee for Richard Schaefer. You know, Clint, when you look at this task of taking over as a county sheriff in Twin Falls County, I mean, what are some of the things that you have to do? What about the personnel? What about issues that need addressing? It looks like it's a big job, a big undertaking.
It is, and I think my philosophy as far as a sheriff or any administrator should be, number one, you've got to be a people person. You've got to enjoy talking to people. You've got to be out there and be upfront. Generally speaking, informed people don't complain. Now, they may not like the outcome, but they usually don't complain if they know what's going on. And I've said this before, that one thing that I've seen in law enforcement is how it's an emotional and physical, profession anyway, and it can be even more difficult if you do not have the support of your administration. I'm committed to mentoring my employees. I'm committed to having as much of a stress-free environment, free of harassment, free of intimidation. I want people to come to work and be happy they're there. I can guarantee you no one got into law enforcement to get rich. We are there because we truly want to serve.
With the changes in our society, not for the better, quite frankly, we've got a anti-police attitude in this country, and it's a shame. It's a crying shame. And it seems to be growing with the liberal left with their lack of respect for law enforcement. How do we overcome that?
Well, I got told people we cannot change what's going on in other parts of the country, but we can start here in our own county. I mean, since we're grassroots agriculture, and we are a very caring community, we can start right here, and by our law enforcement being heavily involved with the community, I think we can curtail a lot of those attitudes with law enforcement by having deputies and have the sheriff get involved more and be involved in these civic organizations and just being upfront and more transparent.
What about the kids? That's the number one problem today, I think, is that the youth of America today, and I'm not saying all, generalizing, but I think the kids have got to be taught in the home and in the school respect for our police.
Absolutely. And I'm committed, and if you've looked at my website at cliffkatona.com, I have a platform issue in there that I'm very, very have a passion for, and that is reinstating the Youth Explorer program. When I was at the hospital, I saw children come in there from 8-year-olds to 15-year-olds with suicidal thoughts. That's why I got involved with the Suicide Prevention Action Network, and we go and we give lectures and breakout sessions to school kids. I believe our youth need a place, and they need some leadership skills. And I believe that Youth Explore program, if proper oversight, it's a great program, and it's great for our youth, because every kid doesn't like animals or sports or cars.
Right.
I mean, give them something. I know 5 adults who have went through the Youth Explore program in law enforcement. Only one of them actually went into law enforcement and retired. The rest of them went on to other businesses, and they tell me, I am where I am today because of that Youth Explore program.
Let's talk a little bit about deputies and the increasing of a staff and finding good people. As a Twin Falls County Sheriff, how do you go about finding good quality people?
When I worked for the state police, I was handpicked by our director of law enforcement to do internal investigations, and so I know how critical it is to have people with good ethics, a good background. Not that people don't make mistakes and commit policy violations. However, now the way law enforcement is, a lot of young people look at it and they think to themselves, why do I want to expose myself to that? We have officers you hear about every day across the country getting shot or killed. So there is a small pool now of people that want to get in law enforcement, but that goes back to my Youth Explore program. I would like to offer a scholarship program through the College of Southern Idaho Law Enforcement program for my Youth Explorers if they want to pursue that. And I believe starting them at a younger age, from 14 to 21 years old, will maybe give them direction, and we'll get some good candidates for the Sheriff's Office.
We're looking at, I'm hurrying along here to get more topics in the short time, and I got a commercial break coming up, Cliff, but is drug enforcement the number one problem and priority, or what are the priorities?
It is a priority. In fact, I've known Grant Lopes for years, and I've talked to him, and I've heard him speak lately, and people have asked him, and he said by far it is the number one problem in Twin Falls County, because it also causes other crimes, assaults, burglaries, even to child abuse. So that is definitely the number one priority. I believe the canines are a great tool for law enforcement. I'd like to see some more canines. I don't believe 2 canines is enough. I believe that one narcotics officer is not enough for the county. Now, if they're working with other agencies, possibly, but Filer can't afford to have one officer designated as a narcotics officer. Same with Buell or Kimberly, but they can work with other agencies, share information, share informants, work cases together.
Okay, we're going to have a wrap up with Cliff Katona momentarily. Stand by, but right now I also want to remind you about your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations. Right now, ready for summer travel? Well, they've got all the tires for you. Tires like the Xeon RS3-A. Boy, this is an all-performance handling tire for your passenger cars, and absolute quality handling. Stop in and check it out today, and check on the free pre-trip safety check offered at your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. They are there to serve you with the best in front-end alignment, shocks and struts, batteries, and of course, always the best in service and the best of tires. Stop in today and see Lane and Rupert, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, Mike and Buell, Mike and Jerome, the Twist family over in Paul, Daniel on Poline in Twin Falls, and Randy on Overland in Burley. Your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Cliff, I got exactly a minute left, and I'm going to turn it over to you now to tell all the people why you should be the Twin Falls County Sheriff.
Well, Zeb, when I started my campaign 16 months ago, I was committed to running a very clean campaign. I've told all my committee people that, and anyone that was involved, I cannot change the past. I'm not trying to change the past. I'm only moving forward in the future. However, if I was comfortable with the way things have been going for the last 7 years, I would have no reason to run. I am just committed to take this sheriff's office to a whole new level. I am not going to fire anyone. That's not Cliff Katona. If someone does not want to work for me, that's their choice. But I've said it all along, and I'll be upfront and honest. There will be a change in leadership. There has to be. But I'm just looking toward the future. I want to make this the best sheriff's office in Idaho, and I believe I have the knowledge, the skills, the experience, but above all, Zeb, I have the passion and the desire to do that. And I am just anxious to serve all the residents of Twin Falls County and be a very visible, approachable sheriff, and encourage my deputies to do that too.
We wish you well.
Thank
Cliff
you.
Katona, candidate for Twin Falls County Sheriff. Thank you for being on the program this morning.
Thank you, Zeb.
We're going to take it off for today and put it back on tomorrow at 8:06. Zeb at the ranch will saddle the horse for 3 hours and ride from 8 to 11. Thank you for all your patience. Thank you for all your calls, and we'll be back again tomorrow, 8:06, right here where we always say the way things were are the way things ought to be. God bless. Have a good day.